Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am Disco Kitty the Crappy Crafter. Today we're going to be working with something that's a little bit resin adjacent. So I have this thing. And if you've never seen what one of these is, then this is cool. I've never used one. I got it off the Amazon Vine, and here's what it is. It's pieces. So there's two solid pieces, and there's two felt pieces, and then there's two fabric, and they all go together, and then you put some flowers, some fresh flowers right in the middle, and then you microwave it, and then they're dry. Like dried, not like just like, you know, you got the water off of them. They're dried flowers, supposedly. I hear these work really well. I've seen a bunch of people use them. Like I said, I was able to get one off of the Vine, so I'm super excited. We're gonna give it a try. It's the day after Valentine's Day, so I got all the cheap flowers to play with it. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so here are the instructions and what comes in the box. It's pretty straightforward. I remembered that you had to dampen them. I've seen other people dampen them, but it doesn't really say how much. Like, I assume you don't soak them. The first round I just kind of ran them underwater and then smeared the water around with my hand because it's wool, and wool it naturally repels water because it's kind of oily. That's why it stinks. And it's gonna stink. It's gonna stink. Anyways, so here's the first round. Almost forgot to put down the cotton. Cotton is very important. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I just know that it gotta have all the pieces in order for it to work. I really wanted that particular flower that I cut up to like smoosh, but it's very, very long instead of very, very wide, so it wasn't gonna work. I try it again later off camera, and yeah, it just doesn't work real well. That's okay. This is really good for wide, round flowers. It doesn't work for long flowers like roses. I'll do a rose, and the petals look great, but the rose is unrecognizable, and that's okay. And it slightly yellows things. Yeah, you know, go figure, because you're cooking it. That's okay. It is what it is. But, I mean, it works. Absolutely works. Those little flowers there were technically already dry before I put them in, but I didn't realize it. Now just listen. Yeah, that was some good crinkles. Good crinkles. It dries them. It dries them. Don't ask me the chemistry behind it, or the physics, or whatever is happening. The science, we'll say the science, because I don't know. I don't even know what science it is. But it works. Wet felt and dry cotton. There we go. Wet felt, dry cotton, and plastic in the microwave equals dried, not just dry, but dried flowers. Okay, I can get down with that. Obviously, this isn't going to work with, like, if you want to keep the shape of your flowers, totally not going to work. You're going to want to keep using silica powder in order to be able to dry a flower in its original shape. But look at those. Baby's breath is one of my favorite flowers because it looks like a miniature version of my other favorite flower, which is a carnation. I love carnations. I really do. Roses, I hate roses. They're pretty, but I hate this way they smell. But just look at that. Look at all those little wrinkly, crinkly petals that are so pretty. And these I dyed myself. Just doing the water and, you know, food coloring thing. I don't think I put enough food coloring in, though, but that, you know, that's okay. It's okay. I recently found out I had asked my local florist, because she shops at my store a lot, and I asked her what best way to dye flowers was, and she was like, oh, there's a spray paint for that, specially made for the flowers. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to use spray paint on flowers, although if you remember last week, there was some baby's breath in that was like super brilliantly pink. I'm pretty sure that would have been spray painted, because there's just no way that the stems would have turned pink with the sucking up colored water through them. But, you know, there are uses for both. I like the pastel look that these got. It's very nice. Oh, that crinkle. Oh yeah, that crumble is so good. Like I was saying though, I like the way these look with a little bit of white, a little bit of color, a little bit of modeling. It's nice. Although I guess if I want to get some spray paint for the flowers, I can always just hop over there and get some spray paint from her. I don't see why she wouldn't sell me some. But I'll probably just keep doing it this way because I just like the way it looks. It looks more natural this way, you know? The stems are still green or brown or whatever. They're not fluorescent pink like the flowers. Don't get me wrong, they were really pretty though. Can't have anything too fat because it just won't work. So here's the rose. It's the cheap rose. I got it from my local grocery store. So I'm going to pluck off all the crappy petals, and then I'm going to pluck off a couple of individual petals, and then I'm going to spread the petals out so that I can put it down flat on its face, and that's just such a bad idea. What I should have done was I should have tried to figure out how to put it down on its side but still have some of the petal spread. I don't know. This is definitely going to be a learning process. And of course this, I think, is where I realized that I forgot to wet them. So I'm going to dampen this one just a little bit. You see that it's vaguely hydrophobic, so it's hard to get the water on there. I flip the whole thing and then dampen the other one, and then we'll put it in the microwave. So the first one I did like 3.5 minutes. The second one I did 2 minutes in 1 minute chunks. The first one I did 30-second chunks. And this one I think I only do 2 minutes. Might be 2.5 minutes as well. But it should have gone in for another 30 seconds because the rose petals and the rose just aren't quite as dry as I wanted them to be. But they're good enough. Absolutely good enough. Yeah, there I tried to fan it a little bit and forgetting that dried flowers fluff. But yeah, that's okay. This thing got so incredibly hot after 3 rounds, which, you know, go figure. It's water in the microwave. But yeah, there's one flower, slightly browned because it's slightly browned. And some of the baby's breath that I had dyed. It looks very nice. And then the rose and its petals. The petals, they, like I said, they could have gone in a little bit longer. They're still a smidgen damp, but they'll still crumble and crinkle. I think they'll be good enough. But the rose is just unrecognizable as a rose. Oh well, that's okay. Crinkle, crinkle. It works. It really does. Well, it absolutely does work. And color me surprised. The one thing that nobody said, though, is it's wool. You're microwaving slightly dampened wool. Oh, it smells so bad. God, my kitchen just smells like hot, damp wool now. And this is so hot. I did, what, 3 rounds? And I think I did 2 to 3 minutes every round. The first time I checked it consistently, every single 30 seconds. And it ended up being like 3.5 minutes because I didn't realize that you can, in fact, overcook things a little bit. So obviously everything's going to take a different amount of time because things are different thicknesses and wetnesses and all of that. But it worked. I mean, look at this. Look at that. It's nice and flat. Nice and flat. Look how flat that is. Look at how flat that is. And it's definitely... You ready? I can make it crinkles. It works. It absolutely, positively works. And it works really well. Just make sure that you check things every 30 seconds to every 60 seconds. The first time, like I said, I checked it every 30 seconds and I put it through for 3.5 minutes and things may have gotten a little too crunchy. But that's okay. Honestly, anything that I do is going to go in resin anyway, so as long as it makes it to the resin, I don't care how crunchy it is, just as long as it's not damp anymore. No more damp. And these are, that was dry. So yeah, so the way it works, I have no idea how it works, but the way it's put together is it's got these 2 hard plastics, and it's got some vents for the steam to come out. And it's got 2 wool pads, felted wool pads, and then it's got 2 pieces of cotton, which I should probably put both pieces of cotton in there so that I don't lose them. And you dampen, slightly dampen, because I think the more wet it is, the longer it takes. I honestly don't know. But you slightly dampen. I'll probably get myself a little, like, spritzy bottle and just go psh psh. The water definitely doesn't like to get into the wool. You gotta kind of force it in there a little bit, which is probably why I used too much the first time. Anyway, so you dampen the wool, you put a piece of cotton down, you put your flowers on it, you put your other piece of cotton down, you put your other piece of dampened wool down, you lock it into place, you put it in the microwave 30 to 60 seconds at a time. And the last time I did it for only 2 minutes, and it probably could have gone it probably could have gone for another 30 seconds or so, because they're not quite as crispy as the first couple of rounds, but I think it worked really, really well. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I got it on Amazon, I got it through the Vine, so it was free for me with my honest review, and of course it will be an honest review because it actually worked. I mean, you know me, I'm not one to shy away from saying something is shite. So, with that being said, it worked really well. I'll leave the link in the description. Yeah, so maybe I'll have more dried flowers in my future resin projects. We'll see, although I will probably, because the one thing I don't like about this is flat. Like, you don't get any more flat than that. You can't get any flatter than that. And the other thing that I don't really like is that it kind of toasted them, you know? So, let's see. This is this. It's not white anymore. That's my biggest problem. It's just not white anymore. This one was pretty close. I think this one is, you know, it may have been in less long, and that looks pretty good. At least I'm pretty sure this is the white one. You know what? I'm not so sure anymore. Pretty sure all I had were the white ones. Anyways, so it works. If you want your flowers to stay white, I don't know what to do about that, but because it will yellow the white and flowers, or sorry, it will yellow white flowers. This one didn't start white, but it did become more yellow once it was, you know, dried, which is a thing, and that's fine. But it works, and it seems to work pretty well, so go out and get yourself one. So that's it for this round. Until next week, stay safe.